Hey, Nelson community, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's Shamika, and we're here to talk a little bit about some interesting hot topics that have been dropping into our social media. But first, if you haven't, go ahead and click that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. You're already here. And if you want to get updates like really quick, click the alert bell too, and you'll get updates on our latest content. So today we're going to be talking about scheduling apps. A little backstory. Back in the day, 10 years ago, 5, 10 years ago, the idea of a scheduling app on your phone to get your shifts and see how much it's paying and see how much you're getting paid, or even get paid the same day or at the end of the shift or even the next day was really unheard of. So I was super excited when, I want to say it had to be like 2015 for me, that I was introduced to this world as a nurse. And the concepts around being able to work a long 12-hour shift, pick when you want to work, where you want to work, know how much it's paying, and go back to see how much you got paid because you got paid at the end of the shift was phenomenal. I loved it. And I was the company I was with, they did like next day pay. So you didn't get paid the same day. But I think it pinned it or something like that. But nonetheless, I was sold. It was a game changer for me. It was probably 2015, 2017, somewhere around there that I had gotten exposure to it. And you didn't have to tell me anything else after that. So go ahead and click in the comments. What year did you first use a on-demand scheduling app to either hire nurses, or if you were a nurse, to actually be able to take jobs or positions or per diem shifts via an app? Like some of them I've seen as basic as, hey, you can pick your shift, to or pick the days that you're available, to as more complicated. You can do all those things, see how much they're paying, get the signature of the client at the end of the shift, sent to, as a part of your time card. So there's levels to this, but let's get into the conversation. Is it a good idea to create your own scheduling app? And the reason that I wanted to share this conversation is because it's definitely something that a lot of people consider. I think it's market in the market that we're in now. A lot of people are interested in doing it as a part of their startup, which I have pros and cons about. But before you even get to that place, it's really important to have a clear understanding of like what that might involve and whether or not it's beneficial. Because with the interest of more technology during the pandemic, a lot of companies that are already in that space are offering a lot of different options to nosas or small business owners in the space that might be more feasible and more functional for what you're trying to do. So in a world where digital tools are a part of our everyday lives, we do everything on our phones. Scheduling apps have become a pivotal part of our personal and professional routines, not only as NOSAs, but from the healthcare side's point of view, as far as like a actual employee, it's a part of their lives too. They walk around with their phones, checking these things, looking at them, submitting themselves to them. Most platforms and most agencies have the option where you can essentially do everything with the exception of the background and drug screen on your phone. You can submit the forms, you can complete trainings, you can update information, you can check your license. So while many scheduling apps are readily available, you might be contemplating whether or not it's a good idea to create your own. So the main difference between creating your own and using what someone else has is really a financial piece, and we'll jump into that a little bit. So before diving and getting yourself into app development, it's imperative to define your purpose clearly. What specific problem will your scheduling app solve? And this is a great question to kind of talk through or think about, because are you just creating the app as a tool for your employees to schedule shifts or see shifts? Um, and identifying your target audience and their unique needs is crucial in this, because there's a lot of other apps and platforms that do that already. So, do you need to provide that service to your employees? Some things to consider as well as, are you aiming to streamline appointment booking, improve team scheduling, or create a novel approach to something like planning events or activities? The more specific and well defined your purpose is, the better your app's chances are for success. Just like with anything, starting a NOSA business, staffing, CPR, any of the platforms that are out there, you really want to make sure that you're able to do your market research, see what's out there, because you want to find out um, the purpose of the product, research existing scheduling apps, and understand what competition is out there. Because many times your employees, other people's employees are on multiple apps. So that's kind of the challenge. Like it's not a situation where you can only work with one app. You can work with 10, and I'd be interested in knowing how many apps the average nurse for staffing related stuff or work related stuff they have on their phone, because at least most of us have 2 or 3 social media apps. So I'm just going to assume that's the case. So many of them offer different features. They may fall short in other areas. So, doing an analysis around market research about what's already out there is really important in helping you identify where there may be gaps in the industry in your ability to candidates, fill openings for job candidates. Pay attention to user reviews and feedback. This is key because in any product that you're putting out there, you want to get as much feedback. You want to go through as many trials and focus group types of things so that you can really get down to the pain points and what the experiences are of individuals using or looking to use your scheduling app. So gathering this information insight is really key to tailor it to meet the needs of your specific audience. A next step is designing the user experience. So that's kind of where I was talking about. You want to figure out not only what's out there, but also what are they using it for? So do I use this app just to um, schedule myself for shifts, or am I looking for what other facilities have open? Am I looking to purchase scrubs? Am I looking to get information around what's happening with my agency? What all am I looking at? Pay stubs, like what all does it include and what am I using it for? So consider the flow of the app. So the ease of navigation, which is always tricky, because you have to create an app that's not only user friendly and aesthetically pleasing. You want to create an app that even a novice um, person can use and maneuver through freely. So in short, it provides a seamless experience for both users and administrators, as well as novice and experienced tech people for your phone. So design a not at a one F okay. User experience design is not a one-time effort. It's an ongoing process. So you always want to make sure that you're positioning yourself to collect data and make improvements to enhance the usability. So choosing the right technology, and this is kind of where it comes in around, is it a good idea? So when I get asked, well, Shamika, what do you think about me creating my own app as a NOSA? Of course, I ask all the questions we saw earlier, but I also ask questions around like feasibility and financial piece. So most of us, not all of us in this industry aren't tech people. We're not. Information technology isn't necessarily our initial background, not to say you can't learn it. So in doing that, you have to put in place people who can do that, and that may look like a development team, which means you have to pay people and you want a budget for that. And sometimes things go in a timely fashion that you anticipate, but sometimes things take a little bit longer. So when you're thinking about starting like a technology product, doing that can be quite costly on the front end before you even roll out an actual product. So, taking that in consideration, especially as a NOSA who may have a more constricted budget, should be thought about. But assuming that's not the case and you have the budget to do something like this, you want to always make sure that you're choosing the right technology. So you want to decide whether or not you want to build a native app for an iOS and Android or opt for a cross-platform solution. So of course, I would opt for the cross-platform solution. Creating an app that can only be used on one phone type really isn't going to be feasible, and it's not going to provide the flexibility that you really want the app to be able to do. Next, your team. Like I mentioned, you have to have a development team, especially if that's not your area of expertise. And with your plans and technology in place, it's time to just start the process of really thinking about developing the app. And this can be done by hiring skilled developers. You want to make sure they have the experience, the understanding, whether it's having coding experience or development experience or a little bit of both. And they have the ability to let you roll out testing of the product before it finally gets rolled out to your staff members. So, testing your app on different devices, platforms. Is it something that's only available in the App Store, or is it something that you can also access on a desktop? Is it administrator and user friendly? So, testing is an invaluable stage in the process and really will uncover a lot of issues, glitches that may occur that you want to get fixed before you roll it out. Launch and promotion. So apps are everywhere, and I would really consider doing your own research around how people decide to download an app. Like, what's the need or requirement? Is it, hey, Shamika, we have this group chat, it's in this particular app product, you should download it. And a lot of that would be based on how your audience uses apps. So, are they using a lot of social media apps, like I mentioned before, or are they involved in more your email marketing, where it's coming into your email, or digital marketing types of things, like how they receive information, how they process it, as well as how they act upon it. So, attracting users is really key. A lot of times, incentives are offered, freebies, and how you structure this piece is really key. Most apps in the staffing space aren't paid for by the user or the end user. They sometimes are built into, other costs for the organization, bill rates, things of that nature, marketing costs. But they may also be um, built into costs that um, other pieces of the business are involved in. So, when thinking about building an app and you're at the launch or promotion process, you really want to think about, like, what's the return on my investment? I spent X amount of dollars. How many people am I going to get to come on board with the app? How do I get traction to get people on board? And then once people are on board, how is that exchange generating potential income for the organizations or opportunity? Next, feedback. Feedback, feedback, feedback. You can never get enough feedback. I do surveys and focus groups and things of that nature for so many different elements of my business. So I encourage you guys to do the same. So continuous feedback really allows for improvement. The journey doesn't end once you launch your app. If it's just in the beginning, you want to make sure that you're collecting user feedback. Incentives are great ways to get that. You can also do in-app surveys, which are good, reviews, Google reviews, as well as direct communication. That can include communication channels where you give people a free form to share their information. You can also package it into like a focus group or a event. So you want to make sure that you make those improvements based on the feedback, because the best thing for people to see is, hey, suggested this and the company made these changes, so to actually know that their opinion is valued. So continuously updating the app is also a key piece and a financial piece that you want to consider to make sure that you're staying competitive and relevant in the evolving app market. And creating your scheduling app can be a great idea if you're carefully considering all the above steps that we talked about. And it's something that you're really committed to and adding a valuable or value added solution to your staffing agency. It's an opportunity to offer a unique and tailored experience for your users, which is great. And it'll definitely address some of the needs that we see in the staffing industry around scheduling. However, it's also a significant undertaking. It requires quite a bit of time, resources, and dedication. It also involves the addition, many times, of a development or program management coding team. So when you're thinking about it, I encourage you guys to really consider the pros and cons around it. Just not the financial piece, but the overall piece. And what's the ultimate goal of you deciding to create the app? Innovation is important. It's a big part of what we're seeing happening in our industry, and it's great. But make sure to do your research and really go out there and look at a couple of different apps to see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense before making such a big investment. And finally, if you approach the development process with a clear vision, a commitment, and quality, focus on quality, and a willingness to evolve, your scheduling app could become a valuable addition to your ever expanding digital tools and business. Whether you're catering to individuals or you're offering as a business to business solution to clients, scheduling apps have a potential to make a meaningful impact, not only in our industry, but also in how you can manage the people and your time. One last thing to consider when you're thinking about a scheduling app is to get creative with it. Don't just do your standard scheduling app if you're going to do it. Do it to really meet the needs. And the best way to do that is to see what's out there and see what's missing. So, as always, thanks for watching here on our YouTube channel. We're glad to have you. Welcome to all the new members. We're officially in November, new members time frame, and we're glad to have you guys there. November is my favorite month, if you guys didn't know. And it's so many things happening this month to be thankful for. So make sure that you are keeping track with us and subscribing to this channel, and go ahead and like this video, and we look forward to chatting with you.